As I said the other day in my video about the B-Link Mini PC, no, this is not a tech channel. No, this is not becoming a tech channel. However, as I said in that video the other day, various different tech devices and guitar gear are becoming to be more and more hand in hand with each other every single day. I took a poll in the community tab on my channel and asked how many of you would have an interest in seeing this particular video, and surprisingly, the response that I got from a lot of you was pretty positive. There's a few of you that said that you couldn't care less about about the content of this video, and that's fine. But a lot of you seem to be very interested in how to get started as a content creator, particularly for musicians. Behold the DJI Osmo Action 3 camera in all of its glory. As well as, this is the entire rig, and I'll get to everything on there here in a minute. This is a fantastic camera. And action cameras, I'll be honest, I hated them. If you go back to my earliest videos, my first few videos were shot on an action camera because I bought a couple of cheap ones, and at that time, all that they seemed to do was the stupid fisheye thing, where everything looks all round and way too wide. I absolutely hate that look on a video. For some things it's okay, but generally speaking, I despise that look. Certainly for my channel, it doesn't fit at all. And I didn't last long with the action camera stuff before I sent them back and I went to a DSLR. Well, nowadays, not only are these things shooting phenomenal quality video, they're insanely durable. You can do, I don't know, the number of things that you can do with these things is, as high as the imagination will carry you. And nowadays, even the onboard microphones are not bad, especially if you're in a pinch. I did a lot of research between the DJI Action 3 and the current line of GoPro cameras, because obviously the two are very similar, but there are some differences. Especially with the GoPros, the GoPro 10 and 11 being the most comparable to this model. The GoPros, it is true that they may shoot a little bit better quality video, but they shoot video going all the way up to, I think, 5.3K, whereas this one tops out at 4K. 5.3K obviously is, like I said, it's a little bit better video quality, but realistically, what am I ever going to need 5.3K for anytime soon? Especially when 4K is just now becoming the standard, particularly on YouTube. And 4K is already pretty sharp, pretty good quality video. I think we can all agree on that. And this thing also will go down to, you can shoot in 1080, which is still acceptable video quality these days. And though I don't know why you would want to, you can even go all the way down, shoot all the way down to 720p. It has a slow-mo mode on it that I believe allows you to shoot in up to 120 frames per second or 60 frames per second. And in regular non-slow-mo video mode, we'll call it, you can shoot 60 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 25 frames, 24 frames. This video that you're seeing everything in is going to be shot in 24 frames per second just because that's typically where I shoot just about everything. I like 24 frames per second because it's the most cinematic look when it comes to frame rate. 30, there's, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot of difference between 24 and 30 frames per second. 30 frames per second, to a trained eye, some people, will tell you that they don't like it. I personally can't tell much of a difference. 60 frames per second begins to look a little too realistic, in my opinion, particularly for what I'm doing. And I think also for what my audience expects to see. Excellent image stabilization. I'm going to demonstrate that here in just a little bit. And I really like DJI's mounting system. They have this metal magnetic bracket here that attaches to the bottom of the camera. And you don't have to have this case on the bottom of it, by the way, or this case attached to it. Again, I'll talk more about this later. But the magnetic bracket will attach directly to the camera itself, should you choose to mount it that way. And by the way, once it's on, it's on. It ain't going anywhere. It is on tight. It's a fantastic design. It's definitely designed more for video than it is for photography, but it does shoot photos. Whether you're talking about photos or video, though, one of the major differences between the DJI Action 3 and the GoPro cameras is the DJI actually, out of the box in auto mode, has much better color, much better color grading right out of the box. The colors on it are just a little bit brighter, a little bit more brilliant, and stand out a little bit more than the standard shot that you would get from a GoPro. Well, professional photographers and videographers may not like that because they want to do their own color grading, and that's fine. But me personally, I'm not good at color grading, and not only am I not good at it, I don't want to invest any more time in it. And the other thing that somebody pointed out to me that made a whole lot of sense to me is, you know who else isn't good at color grading? Most people. And of course it has input for a microphone, longer lasting battery life, and all kinds of other features and benefits that make this thing well worth buying. As for the other things that you're seeing here in this little rig right now, I've kind of got it set up as a blog rig. You can buy this camera in two different packages. You can buy the camera by itself, which I believe by itself right out of the box sells for $329, I believe. Or you can buy what they call the Adventure Combo, which is what I got, that sells for $439. And the $439 Adventure Combo comes with the selfie stick. It comes with a couple of extra clips. I'm going to go through everything in the box so that you guys can get an idea. But in my opinion, the money for the Adventure Combo is definitely the way to go, particularly if you intend to use this in more than one situation. A couple of other things that I have added here to my blog rig. I had to get a couple of extra cables. There is a USB-C input here on the side that's meant specifically for a microphone input. I did buy this light here to be mounted on top. The light itself is, I think I paid about 20 bucks for it, 19, 20 bucks. Very, very inexpensive. You can't see it right now because I currently have it mounted on that camera that I'm recording this particular segment with. But on top, I also mount my, my Rode Wireless Go 2 receiver, which is the receiving microphone for this guy right here. Once I have that mounted on here, I've got my travel, carry it with me everywhere I go vlog rig. Oh, and one last thing, I also have the small rig cage. The small rig cage, the Vigim light, and these cables did not come with the Adventure Pack, but I will have them linked up down below. Everything else that it came with, the case, unfortunately, I had to buy separately. This was about 50 bucks or so. I had to buy a few other accessory packs. One thing that you guys might not know, I'm also getting ready to launch a food and travel channel, and part of that channel, one thing that I needed was a head mount, specifically for this camera to use in various different shots for that channel. So that's what some of these extra accessories are for. Comes with an additional rubber ring. This goes around the front lens of the camera. So if you wear that one out, you have a backup here. And if you happen to wear that one out, you can buy it pretty inexpensively. It's a pretty inexpensive part. This here is a dash mount for a car. You can mount that there on your front windshield and use it for various dash mount cam purposes. A couple of extra screws. This is actually the cage that comes with the Action 3 itself. You don't have to buy the small rig version that I did. The reason why I did buy the small rig version, however, is because this one does not have the cold shoe on top. So there's nowhere to mount mount a microphone or a light or anything on top of it. The small rig cage has that capability. And last but not least, these are your battery packs. And this thing will hold up to 3 batteries, and you can charge all 3 of these things in, I believe, under an hour. You can get up to 80% charge in like 18 minutes or something ridiculous, and it'll charge it the rest of the way in like 50-something minutes. And then, if all batteries are charged, there's a USB-C port there on the side. This thing can also double as a charge bank. That's pretty cool. Even with those add-on accessories, I'm into this whole setup for 550 bucks, give or take. It's still well under 600. As far as ease of use goes, this thing's pretty idiot-proof, really. If you don't have a real firm grip on camera settings, like the ISOs and the shutter speeds and all that kind of stuff, if you don't really know how to set all that stuff, you can look it up pretty easily and then navigate the menus very, very easily to go in there and adjust all that stuff. Oh, and by the way, you can also navigate the full menu from both the front and the back screen. So again, if you're in vlog mode, you can not only see yourself, but you can also make all your adjustments on the fly. GoPro doesn't do that. Now that I've told you about this thing, let me show you what this thing can do. The next several segments of this video are all going to be recorded, audio and video, with the DJI Osmo Action 3. All right, I'm not really much of an outdoor vlogger type of guy, but I did want to kind of show you guys what all this thing can do. And one of the things that it does really, really well is image stabilization. Right now I have the image stabilization turned completely off, so all the motion that that's the lowest image stabilization setting that there is. So you guys will see another example here in a minute with this thing clipped onto the end of my guitar, where the camera's bouncing around a whole lot more. What the image stabilization turned on will look like. Also, the audio that you're hearing right now, this is just the onboard camera microphone. Right now I'm currently holding the camera, I don't know, maybe a foot away from me. That's held back, full arm extension right there. So it's not the greatest. Right now I have the image stabilization turned completely off, so all the motion that that's the lowest image stabilization setting that there is. It'll get the job done. By the way, the settings on this camera, I've got it set in 4K 24 frames per second, and this is actually the auto exposure mode. Auto exposure, auto white balance, pretty much auto everything. On will look like. Also, the audio that you're hearing right now, this is just the onboard camera microphone. Right now I'm currently holding the camera, I don't know, maybe a foot away from me. That's held back, full arm extension right there. So it's not the greatest camera quality in the world, or microphone quality in the world rather, but in a pinch, particularly for a vlog style of video, it'll get the job done. By the way, the settings on this camera, I've got it set in 4K 24 frames per second, and this is actually the auto exposure mode. Auto exposure, auto white balance, pretty much auto everything. So this thing met a lot of different solutions for me, not just for this channel, but also for some other things that I intend to do in the future, particularly travel plans and things of that nature. So also the fact that this thing is waterproof, I can even take this thing in a pool or a lake or something like that if I want to, and get it wet. It's waterproof all the way down to I think 16 meters, so it'll hold up underwater just fine. No questions asked. So I hope you found this video informative. If there's, again, I'm not a camera guru. This is not a tech channel or anything like that. I'm not trying to be. I'm not turning this channel into anything. I just thought that this would be a very, very good tool for guitar players in particular who might be interested in getting into content creation. You're seeing a lot more YouTube creators in all different genres, who are landing on action cameras as their main camera these days, and for good reason, because they do an awful lot. They've come a long way in the last few years, and people are getting excellent results out of them. If there's any details that I've left out that you were not able to figure out on your own, don't hesitate to drop a comment down below, and I will answer it as best I can. In the meantime, let's get back to some guitar gear.